Hello and welcome to the MHG podcast. As usual, life can be miserable, it can be dark, so we're here to bring you a little bit of light and a little bit of joy. But this week, it's a bit different. It's just been released by Fox News, so this week we are joined by Tucker Carlson. How you doing? No, sorry, that's the wrong script. That's the one where I was at GB News for the day, sorry. I'm joined by Stu. As usual, how you doing, Stu?
Not too bad, yeah. Hopefully the opposite of Tucker Carlson. And I was watching a thing about him not long ago, actually, about how he was, his career is kind of like based off the back of, a lot of these white men failing upwards, getting lucky. He was a personable presence, and he discovered that instead of being moderate, if he went further towards the right wing, that he would get more attention and more views and more engagement, and did that instead. So just reinforces that, it's not most of the people who are mouthpieces for the right who you find on YouTube and on telly are very often they're not right wing, or they're just ambivalent, and they're just doing it because it makes them a lot of money.
Tucker Carlson, literally, I think it was the day after or 2 days after he got fired, basically went, I'm a grifter. This is what the media don't want you to know. They want us to do this stuff, so we do it and get paid more. It was like, mate, you've harmed so many people with these words that you say, and you're now saying that you didn't actually mean all of them, and it was just a grift. That doesn't make you a better person.
Nope. It makes you
worse.
Probably a sociopath. I think I've said this before. I think that the prevalence of sociopathy in as we define it as like somebody who struggles to or either has no empathy. I think the prevalence of it in society in the Western world is far higher than we give it credit for, and pretty much everybody who's in that kind of industry, who you're getting negative vibes from, is probably a sociopath. Yeah,
definitely. I think Tucker Carlson and the ilk from Fox News proved themselves to be probably the heads of the sociopath league.
Yeah, precisely.
Talking of industries that are worse than Fox News.
Yeah, nice light start. Yeah, go on.
Hello. The video game industry, Stu.
I know, right?
It's really weird, the video game industry. But today, look, for the last few weeks, we're not gonna lie, we've been focusing on just like talking about games and stuff like that. Mainly time constraints, but also, as we say, life's bloody miserable. So we just talk about the good stuff where we can at the moment.
That's right.
Because neither of us want to fall into a deep depression to think about what's actually going on at the moment.
That's right.
Cereal's expensive, and I don't want to go down that route. Everything's expensive.
Oh, God, yeah.
Yes. I will ask what you've been playing, Stu, but then you're going to turn it around and ask me.
Yeah, so segue time. So, cereal's expensive. You know what else sometimes contains cereal?
Series of video games that are serialised?
Yes, that's right. Video games, Brad. So, Boom, mic drop, I'm out of here. So, what have you been playing that is a video game?
Oh, look at the plot twist there.
I know, right?
It's like full David Lynch territory. That's really weirded people out.
Operating on so many levels here now, Bradley. Yeah.
I know. First one I've been playing, we've done a plot twist, so to the absolute surprise of no one, I've managed to find a game that is roguelike, puzzle, city builder, deck builder.
Hey.
I've managed to find a game that puts all those in it together.
Bingo!
So, yes, it's Brad Bingo. TerraScape. I've realised I was looking through my Steam list and I've got 5 games in a row that have the word Terra spelt TERRA as part of the title at the start.
Yeah.
So there you go.
It's that ants and a Bug's Life thing all over again. Yeah. They're all coming out at the same time.
And they're all different though. That's the good thing about it. But this one is basically a city builder that takes influence from... Well, it doesn't take influence from, but has that kind of hexagonal build thing that you see in North Romantic, which is one of my favourite casual builders you can get out there. I think it's absolutely brilliant. But what this does, instead of just going, oh, that's all from Antics, and we'll just do that, and we'll just do the hexagonal city building thing, what you actually get is you get different cards. You have to use these cards to lay different types of land. So it could be like building, farms, etc., loads of different types of ones. And every card you lay has an area of effect status to it. So you might lay a farm down and you might get bonus points because it's next to green area. Or you might lose points because it's near a beach or things like that. So you have to really consider where you're placing things. Like you get dealt cards at random, you can build your deck up for other runs and things like that. But instead of just like placing and thinking about like, do these land tiles match, or what's the economy going to be like, you've really got to think about what deck you've built. So you might go, right, I've built a deck that's got lots of farms in it, but I've only placed at this point of the game 2-3 farms, and I know I've got a whole bunch of them coming. So where can I place it? How can I strategize, etc., and how can I build out from there? And I'm really enjoying it. It's challenging but fun at the same time, and it doesn't insult your intelligence by hand-holding too much, but at the same time doesn't go overboard the other way to expect everyone to know everything about the game. And I think, like, I've been playing it for a few hours, and every run I've had of it has felt very different when I've built my deck and I've tried different approaches to it. And it works really well on the Steam Deck, which is really good. And yeah, something about sort of when you've got a tile, you're going, oh, I'm trying to place a tile, and it's only going to give me a score of 5. And then you find you can actually lay it somewhere and it'll be 5-6 times that score. It's like, yes, I'm going to really improve my score. And then the further you get, the more cards you get positive influences, you get negative influences. And yeah, it just takes all the core concepts from about 3 different genres and just molds it all together into something that's coherent and works really, really, really well.
Cool. Yeah. I got no problem
with I know, you're going, yeah, I don't like these games.
Yeah.
These are not for me.
Yeah, but, I'll try and be the voice of the audience. So that sounds good. It sounds like it's doing things really well. Does it have, like, an end game, or is it just you're trying to be better and better each time, or does it actually finish at some point?
So it's early access at the moment as well. So at the moment, I'm only playing it, and it's just like replaying and building your deck like a lot of it. But it also has a multiplayer mode. So it's almost got like this board game style to it as well. So the idea is you play multiplayer and you've got to try and get the better score than your opponents and things like that. So you've obviously, when you're playing, you've got to develop your strategy differently, because you've then got to develop your strategy to get your score, but also can you do ways to stop your opponent's scoring and things like that. Now, I've not really tried much of this mode because apparently I haven't got many people I know who like these sort of games. So I've not really played much of that at the moment. I've given it a quick go and I really enjoy it. It feels like one of those, like, like a Carcassonne or something like that. In its feeling for the multiplayer, but without just being full on, oh, it's Carcassonne again. So there's no end game, but it's like a board game doesn't have an end game. Like, you will finish a round, and it's just, do you want to play more? There's no sort of like end boss or anything like that. It's just, it's just one of those, if that makes sense.
It does, and it's a really good comparison, because that's what that made me think. So it's the sort of game that I would play it because I'm sure the mechanics are really good. If I knew that it would bring pleasure to the person I was playing with, which sounds really dirty, but I'm not being dirty, or am I? But like board games, I would get the fun from playing it with another person in the same room, I think, so that we'd be talking about other stuff, grabbing a coffee here and there, maybe eating some Doritos or something equally unhealthy, just doing daft stuff like that, and part of the being together elevates the game that you're playing. I don't really like online games very much unless they're the game I absolutely love, and the conversation in the background is also good because it's a friend. But the game has to be like absolutely peerless. But the couch co-op thing, I'll play anything pretty much as long as because it's just about the camaraderie and being in the same room and having a laugh kind of thing. Yeah,
and therein I think lies the problem with this at the moment. There's local area network PvP and online PvP. I don't think there's any local PvP at the moment, which is a shame because, we're seeing this advent now, I think, of board game tables where they've got the screen built in and you could... and this feels like this would almost be ideal as a digital board game on a table where you sat together. Or even if you put it on the TV and sat together. And my suggestion would have been, if you fancied it, we could do like remote play, but I don't think it's got that as an option. So it would require like you to own the game as well. And I think at that point it becomes a push for someone to say, like, can you buy the game so we can play it, but we're not going to be in the same room unless we've got a LAN set up or two Steam Decks. I don't know why I whispered that and then said it properly. That was really bizarre.
No, probably.
I said the loud part quietly and then said the loud part loudly. Just anyway. Hey,
no, but I get that. Yeah.
Yeah, there's lots there. There's lots there, and it is early access. So I'm hoping that's something they can add to it because, I love digital board games. I think they are brilliant because you haven't got to worry about, am I misunderstanding the rules? Worry about losing bits. Or take ages putting it away and setting it up and all that kind of thing. So I'm a big fan of digital board games. But I think a lot more of them need to somehow find a way of doing local, in the same room multiplayer. Whether that's you play on the main screen and then you use your phone or tablet, your own personal device as your deck or your, if you're playing Rummy Cub or something, you've got your tiles or your Mahjong tiles and all different things like that. You've got those on your screen and it can interact with each other, like the Jackbox games, you can do that kind of thing. That I think it's got to be the next evolution of these games. How can you play these games locally while being able to do where you've got to have a private hand of something? That's what's got to come next. And it's there and you can do it, but no games have really taken advantage. This is one where this could maybe do something with it. This could maybe look at down the line, if it's successful enough, can they do something with that? Can they make it that asymmetric, same room, different device type thing that works? But the groundwork's there. The single player is really good. The online multiplayer, from what I've played of it, is really enjoyable. And it's a really good game. And I hope to see it improve and do better.
Nice. Yeah, no. It sounds like it deserves to have that functionality. I'm sure they would love to, and it's probably just money that's prevented them so far. But yeah, fingers crossed. Let's hope they can do it.
Mm-hmm. So, what have you been playing, Stu?
All sorts. I've been playing a load of VR, but I won't go into it because it's all old stuff, and I'm conscious of not just like, it's not all old stuff, but there's some old stuff, and I'm conscious of just going over old stuff over and over again because people have played it.
That's Stu bingo anyway. There you go. VR old stuff.
Yeah, pretty much. But I play new games all the time, evidenced by the fact that the two that I'm going to talk about now. First one being Rusted Moss, which is a Metroidvania that got released about a week ago. So I've just been playing it this week. And yeah, it's sort of a pixel art style Metroidvania. I've not really paid much attention to the story. I very rarely pay attention to stories because they're so badly written in games. Even if the plot and the visuals are great and the whole way that they merge them is quite nice, I just don't find that they can tell a story very well. But, there you go. That's a personal thing. But it's very basic looking but very attractive. It's got this kind of muted palette, very, very cute but very blocky. And what you do is, the wrinkle for it is that you traverse using a grappling hook. So it's got a bit of a Bionic Commando kind of a vibe to it, but much, 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 much
Bionic
more.
Celeste, looking at it.
Yes, Bionic Celeste is a good way and is probably what I'm going to be calling the episode. So, yeah, it is like a Bionic Celeste, and yeah, it's much, 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 much more difficult to control than Bionic Commando. To the degree where I don't think it's fully playable on the Steam Deck, but I don't find the controls for the swinging work very well for me. And I don't know if it's because I'm crap playing on the thing where the controller is also the screen isn't ideal, or whether the developers haven't quite got it right. I'm not sure. But I've just circumvented all this by turning on accessibility options where pressing jump a second time allows you to float. So I've kind of got rid of the difficult platforming, and I'm purely playing it for discovery and the combat. And the floating thing doesn't really make the combat any easier, which is great. So you can legitimately play it as my character has a jetpack kind of thing, you know? So yeah, you go around, you explore, you level up a little bit, grab items, save your progress at save points, find teleporters. It's exactly what you'd expect from Metroidvania. Looks very pretty. Really, I kind of really like the storyline, even though I don't like the way that it's written down. I don't like reading stuff when I'm playing a game. Yeah. The maps are good. They're not amazing, but they're good. It's a very interesting Metroidvania with a strange and easily circumventable control scheme. It's worth a check. It's worth checking out. As I say, it works very well on the Steam Deck on a technical level. It doesn't have any problems whatsoever. If you wanted to, and if you find that it does, you've got the option to just fly around. So yeah, check it out. Your mileage may vary on it, and it will depend on how many of the recent Metroidvanias you've played and your appetite for them and all that crap. But watch some few videos. If you like the look of it, maybe jump in. I think it's around the £15 mark.
And what I'm not happy with you, Stu, right? You call it out like poor level design, or not the most impressive level design, right?
Okay.
Can you do better? Can you prove you could do better? Is there a way to show you could possibly do better in this?
Do you mean, is there a level designer?
There's a level editor. There is a level editor.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying. Well, I'm not really upset or disappointed with you, Stu. Yeah, I noticed there's a level editor. There's one thing we could be thankful for Super Mario Maker for, and that's the advent of games that put in full level, use their tool sets to allow you to make your own levels. I know Trials did it, like Trials HD and Evolution and all that, but Mario Maker really popularised it and made it accessible. And yeah, it's got a level editor, which is really cool. So
I'd be interested to see. Yeah, I'd be interested to see.
Raffle a penis, probably.
Yeah, big old dick. I'd be interested to see what people could do, but I think it might be a bit constrained by the fact they've gone for an 8-bit style. Blocks of rooms, so it's not really as sophisticated as Super Metroid or Symphony of the Night, where they're little blocky rooms but on the map, but internally they've got a lot of platform variation. This has got kind of like the Portal thing of there are certain things that you swing, certain what is it called, environmental stuff that you can swing on, and certain ones that you can't.
Yes,
and there are death bits and spikes and stuff, but fundamentally it's very, very simple geography and geometry, and I'm not sure there's much that you could do out of it in that way that is easy to do. I'd say, again, as I mentioned a few weeks ago, I think indie developers are using 8-bit as their platform kind of lookbook to design on, because it's easy, it's very attractive, and it's selling because of the retro nostalgia. I would actually prefer these things to be built on something a bit more sophisticated, which is the 16-bit era, and I don't think it is. But yeah, that's a personal gripe. You take things for what they are, and it's a good game.
Cool. Yeah, I think I've added that to my wish list. I think that is prime Humble Bundle at some point by the looks of it.
Yes.
So yeah, I think I'll pick this one up when it's on the cheap or in a Humble Bundle.
Yes. Yeah.
Cool. So, from leaping around with a grapple hook,
oh god, here we go,
to grappling bubbles and things that are magical with women's. Magical Drop 6. There was a link there. You kind of fire up and you collect your colours and then you throw them back up. You kind of grapple them down and stuff like that. So there was a link. Tell you what, right, in the spirit of the last game's level editor, make your own segue up. There you go. Editing your own segue, people. We like to give back. I don't know what I'm talking about. Anyway, Magical Drop 6. Right, first of all, do you know what a Magical Drop is, Stu?
I know the game series.
Yeah, it's brilliant. I love Magical Drop. This is more Magical Drop. So, what you been playing? No, it's more Magical Drop. I'm up for more Magical Drop. It's got puzzle modes, it's got versus modes, it's got a story mode, and like every single Magical Drop game that I think I've ever played, you go into like the main mode, and the first level is brutal. I mean, it's like these people looked at the first level with Driver and went, hold my beer. Because I spent an hour trying to beat the first level of Magical Drop. Rest of it, piss easy. You're not piss easy, but it's like I've not screwed up at all. You know, I've not had to repeat a challenge more than once. But that first level took me forever because it's just it just like you go in it goes, we don't want you to see any more of this game. You're gonna fail this over and over. Which is could come across as really bad game design. But in my opinion, it's really, really good game design because it teaches you the competitive side of it, that it's not just about matching the colours and being able to sort of like, I know this, I've got to make these 3 reds and stuff like that. It really forces you to look for chains, look for patterns, but do it in the blink of an eye. Your Magical Drop has always been about going fast and reacting to things super fast. Especially in like battle modes and stuff like that. And the way that first level is brilliant for me. Now that's because I love a good puzzle game, and I love the Magical Drop series. If you're coming into this is like your first ever puzzle game or your first ever competitive puzzle game or whatever, you might throw this in the bin early on. I am not gonna lie on that. It's not newcomer friendly at all. But as a fan of the series, I love it. I absolutely love it. The challenge is there. I think it's a very good take on the colour matching genre. And just one I've enjoyed for many a year. I've got it. I think I've got all the Magical Drops in some guys on like an Amber Nick or my Metroid Pocket 3, or not yet on my newly acquired GPD XD. Because I've not actually put anything on that yet. But anyway, I'm going well off subject. But yeah, I really, really enjoy it. The characters aren't as questionable as they've been in the past, shall we say. I could happily play this among my children.
Oh my God,
which is not something I've been able to do in the past. But I don't know if that's just some moody ROMs where there's been some thirsty types making their own mods of it, and they're the ones that are out there. I don't know. But obviously this is a Japanese-based original, so make of it what you will. But this one's a bit more family-friendly. And yeah, it's brilliant. It's more Magical Drop. I don't know what else to say, but I'm saying nothing by saying a lot. There you go. Magical Drop 6.
Very true. Very true. Yeah. I suppose the only question is, what's the point of it in a world where you've got at least 5 previous entries and probably a lot more that have got Gaiden stuck on the end? Does it have like online play? Does it have rollback code? Does it have local multiplayer? Does it have good accessibility options? Any of that stuff?
So it has multiplayer online, and it does have split screen. So it does have it. Online, I struggle to find games that stuck. I think there's been a lot of complaints about that. So I think it needs some patching or whatever for the online stuff. But because of my eyes and that, I'm not very good like competing with actual experts or anything like that in these sort of games anymore. So I'm happy just I'm happy just playing the CPU and stuff like that. And there are people that have been complaining that it's very easy to cheese the CPU and stuff like that. I haven't found that. I think people look for stuff to go and have a moan about sometimes. And yeah, you've got to unlock characters. I don't like this in puzzle games. It's one thing I don't like. You've got to unlock characters as you go through the story mode. I would rather the option, again, an accessibility option that you could choose is, do you want everything unlocked? Yes, because you've paid for the game. So, but yeah, no, I really enjoy it. It's nothing new, but it's magical drop on modern systems.
Fair play.
Yeah, weirdly, it's a weird one. Right, Magical Drop 5 is no longer available on Steam.
Yeah.
Okay. The demo is, but Magical Drop 5 is no longer available on Steam. I own Magical Drop 5. I bought it a good while ago. And it was bulked. It barely ran on anything for whatever reason. They've disowned it, brought out Magical Drop 6. Magical Drop 5, today, as of recording, just got Steam Deck verified.
Weird.
Yeah. I know.
That's bizarre.
Yeah, so I don't know what rhyme or reason there is to developers updating things or what Steam are deciding they're going to verify and stuff like that. There's still no rhyme or reason to it. But yeah, if you've got Magical Drop 5, I don't fancy spending another 20 odd quid because it is expensive, but I love the game, so I don't care. It's well worth it in my opinion. But if you've got Magical Drop 5 and you've got a Steam Deck, you don't want to spend more, it's verified now. Out of the blue.
Bizarre.
To cannibalise their new
Weirdness.
game.
Yeah.
So, I don't get it. I just don't get it. But yeah, more people should play Magical Drop. I think it's one of the most underrated puzzle series out there. So, yeah. What you got next to drop, Stu? And is it magic?
Ooh, that's a good question. It's very pretty. So I'm playing a game that I've been playing since the...
Oh, those hentai games
distance.
again.
Yeah, all mucky. That's why my eyesight's so bad. I've been playing since the long ago distant past of yesterday evening, which is a game called Figment 2, which I think actually came out. Yeah, which actually came out yesterday, I think. I think I bought it day and date. And yeah, Figment 2 Creed Valley, it's called. And the idea is your own imagination wandering around your own brain, trying to sort out your mundane problems. So you're in your real world, you're an ordinary adult with a family, cis-het normal family, white guy, most boring creature on earth, and in your head you're trying to sort out your daft behaviours by wandering around an isometric map and hitting things with a stick. And it's kind of a bit like Bastion, I would say.
Oh, you just stole my bloody joke.
Yeah.
I was going to say, is it the Bastion of the genre? But we obviously...
Yep.
We can't now because there is a Bastion and you stole my Bastion joke. Carry on, Stu.
Sorry. But yeah, no, it's the most obvious. You're playing a character who looks like Tingle from the Zelda series.
Yeah.
And I was like, the minute I saw it, I was like, oh, Nintendo will go and sue somebody. But yeah, you're playing Tingle basically, and you've got a stick and you hit stuff, and you've got to like go between different areas that are sort of semi-visible on the map. It's isometric. It's basically Bastion in the way that it plays. And it's like sort of light puzzly, light adventure kind of thing. It's very kind of solid and ordinary, except for the visuals, which are absolutely gorgeous. And your mileage will vary, obviously, depending on your aesthetic taste, but they're like a children's book. But the ones that are, the ones that end up being kind of like timeless, I'm not saying this is timeless classic, but timeless classic children's books, because they're so painterly and beautiful, and loads of time's been put into making them look like real works of art, rather than just being sort of basic and bright primary colours for kids. They've kind of got the more sophisticated look, but they're still clearly intended for kids, and it's that kind of a look to it, and I was very, 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 very impressed by that. So yeah, I thought it was worth dipping into, and yeah, it's one of those that's totally fine. It's a mindless time waster, not to throw too much shade at it. It's a perfectly serviceable game that's entertaining enough in the moment. Your mind probably won't even go back to it when it's not there. You'll turn on your whatever your system is and go, oh yeah, I was playing that, I'll put it on for another half hour. Other than that, other than the visuals, it's pretty normal, but yeah, it's lovely looking. If you like the graphics and you like sort of fairly straightforward, simple adventure games, like what was that one that was out that was really popular?
Tunic.
Yes. Hey, getting to the stage where we can read each other's minds. Yeah, Tunic. Not as pretty as Tunic in its own kind of way, but it's it's that sort of a thing. It's not as good as Tunic, but if you like that sort of thing, you'll probably have a lot of fun with it.
And to be fair, what is as good as Tunic in that genre?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's by Bedtime Digital, who done what I think is an underrated gem. They done the Salvador Dali MCS inspired Back to Bed.
Right.
Obviously done Figment as well. And also done a game. Well, they published it, Bedtime. This wasn't one of their developed ones, but they published one called The Forest Quartet, which is a really, really interesting puzzle adventure game as well. So they've got a good, a good history behind them. But I've got Figment and I've played a bunch of Figment, but I kind of played it after another run through of Bastion and never kind of got into it because I was like, but this isn't Bastion. And yeah, I think I might. I think what I'm going to do is give myself another playthrough of Figment, and then I might jump into this down the line because it looks right up my street. You said visually it's beautiful. It's stunning. It's very striking. It's it's gone for an art style, so it's not going to get. I think you can play this in 25 years' time, and it's not going to look old.
Yes.
Gameplay might age badly, who knows, and stuff like that. But visually, it's not going to be old. I like the look of it, and I'm glad you get an enjoyment out of it, despite it not being perfect. Because, again, let's go to, does a game need to be perfect, Stu? Does it?
Exactly. No, it doesn't.
Has it got to bring you some kind of joy or thought? If another game makes you think, or gives you enjoyment, or what, evokes some kind of emotion, you're doing a good job. Even if it's bad. What you just don't want to be is, that's the worst crime.
Yeah, it's got that loveliness to it. Definitely makes it worth purchase.
Sweet. I've added that to my wish list then. There we go. That's 2 games you've mentioned that I've now put on my wish list. Wow. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
So I've got one more that I want to touch on, and it's one I can't speak much about because it's a detective game, immersive, like sim type thing with lots of stories, lots of twists, etc., etc. So I can't say too much, otherwise it will ruin the experience. But basically, I've been playing Shadows of Doubt, which is it's a sandbox detective stealth game, is what they've called it. That's got a Minecraft pixelated HD 3D look to it. It's a really interesting visual style.
Yeah.
It's got lots of neon and stuff like that to it. And it looks like it could have been done within the Minecraft world. It's just really, it's really bizarre, but looks more real than Minecraft. My brain can't quite get my head around the look of this game. Anyway, the idea is you basically are on the hunt for a serial killer. I'll try to work out what I can say without going too much. You're on the hunt for a serial killer, and you're in this city, and you've got to go round and look for clues, put things together to try and find them. And the hook is the world you're in is fully simulated. So you could go and do whatever you want to do, and the world lives on. So you could stand there and do absolutely nothing for 6 hours straight if you wanted. The world carries on living, fully simulated, which I think is really, really a great idea. And you get total, they claim total freedom. And sometimes when you get a game goes, you've got total freedom, and then you kind of go into it and go, well, you say I have, but I kind of haven't. Bit like the Hitman games.
Yeah.
Where, you're saying I've got total freedom, but, look at all these goals I've got to complete. And if I don't do it, apparently that's not the right way of doing it. So, no, this is, you could, basically, you could just ignore it if you want. That doesn't sound like that's a good thing, that you can go into the game and just do nothing. And that will still play out. And stuff will still happen around you. But you can if you want. You can go into it and do nothing. You can accidentally chance upon something that's important. You can go really in depth. So it goes to the point where you could do just check out CCTV footage, and that CCTV footage has actually happened in the game as well. And it's not sort of like, oh, it's pre-canned. It's actually happened, and it's just it's just really, really cool. And then you could do things like you could put together your clues on a Charlie Day style crazy conspiracy board if you want. And it's like every single citizen you meet is their own individual personality. They have written there's these mini bios for every single character you will come in contact with. There's this main overarching story, but you can do loads of little jobs to finance it, and so on and so forth. And it's not just, oh, you've now got all these goals, and that's it. You've now completed this case. You've got to gather the clues, whatever that is. So it could be CCTV, it could be getting interviews, or even getting fingerprints and things like that. You've got to gather that all up and prove to someone that the person you're trying to go against for in that particular case has committed this crime. And you've got to prove that. It's not just, oh, you've done this checkpoint, this checklist of stuff, and that'll do. You could get all the bits, but if you can't then prove it, doesn't matter. You could still lose out. And it's got their own little bits. So I don't think I've touched all of it yet, or hardly any of it, because it says things like not picking and sabotaging security systems. I've not done any of that yet. And I feel like I've got quite a lot out of the game already, and it's just what an experience this game is. It's not perfect, it's a little bit buggy in places, and but it's so ambitious. You can forgive the bugs that it's got in places. Yeah. You really can forgive it. And what it's done as well is, because it's chose this art style, I might be wrong, but this Minecraft art style is very cheap in terms of space and resources. Because there's lots of reused textures and stuff like that. And Minecraft is only a few hundred megs, is it? Something like that. Probably. For massive worlds. I don't know. I'm sure it's only a small download, or it was at one point. It might all be different now. And so what they've done is this really cheap pixelated 3D art style, which means they can then focus all resources into making the world believable, despite it visually not being believable. So it's, to compare it, the only other world I've been in where I've gone, this feels like a real place, is Red Dead Redemption 2.
Yeah.
That's the level of immersion we're at here. Now, I've said before, I really love the Yakuza games, the Like a Dragon games, whatever we're calling them these days. I really like those because they take the open world and shrink it, which makes it feel more alive. But it always felt like a video game world still. Red Dead Redemption and this take it to a level where it's like, I feel I could just live in this world. No other video games, apart from those two, have made me feel like that. It's really, really impressive. Nice.
Yeah, it looks good. Yeah, that's the sort of thing I might watch somebody stream, on Twitch or something. And
it's still early access, so I don't know what's to come from it. Again, that will explain the bugs. And again, I've tried not to go too far into it, because if it's early access, I want to play the final full thing. So now I've spoke about it, I am going to step back from it until it gets a massive update. But, oh God, yeah, it's so worth it. It's so worth picking up. And it's 15 quid. It's, it's 15 quid. And it's just, that's all I'm going to say, man. It's just, get it. It's brilliant.
It is kind of amazing when you have such sophistication and thought in a game, and it's like, it's 15 quid. It's like, that's amazing.
Yeah. Oh, you can go spend 60 quid on whatever Ubisoft are pumping out next. Your choice.
Not happening, mate.
No. So yeah, absolutely wonderful, wonderful, wonderful game. I don't know, like it's an indie game, obviously. I don't know if it's like a team or if it's a single person. But it's also like it's by someone called Coal Powered Games. That again, that could be a team. It could just be a single person called Cole. I don't know. But it's also the person behind what I think is, again, a really underrated, and it almost comes full circle, and I haven't planned this, honestly, a city building deck game strategy puzzle game that came out back in 2015 called Concrete Jungle, which was really underrated in my opinion. It's brilliant, but it's by the team who done that. This is their next project, and yeah, just they're 2 hits on their hand. They've made 2 games in 8 years, and both are brilliant. So there you go.
Cool. I shall be keeping my eye out on those, definitely.
Indeed. And just to finish off, very quickly, Nintendo are dicks, aren't they? But I'll shut up now.
Yeah. Yeah. That's absolutely right. It's getting harder and harder to find a big publisher, even if they are also the developer, who you can kind of go, yay, we like you. It's very challenging. Very challenging.
Just play indies.
Yeah, most of the time.
Indies in the future.
Yeah.
And the past. And the present. The lot.
Yeah, we need to have that conversation. Well, revisit what we talked about, what Jim Sterling mentioned about. I can't remember the exact phrase they used, but it was pirating from Nintendo is just reclaiming. It's like reclaiming what's yours. Reclamation. Yeah. We need to discuss that.
It's your moral obligation to steal or pirate from Ubisoft and Nintendo and companies like that.
Yeah, that's what he said. We need to chat about that, I think.
Yes. Yeah. But I'm still watching Devolver because I'm still unsure where Devolver are going to go. Yeah. They're still the right side of the line, but they're getting bigger. So I'm watching you, Devolver.
I know, right?
Literally, because I'm on the Steam homepage and they've got a big banner at the top. So I was literally watching Devolver there as well.
Yeah, we'll pick that up next week. Have a chat about it, I think. Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm shutting up still. I'm shutting up. You made me talk again. I'm shutting up.
Yeah, that was totally my fault. Always try and cut you off as much as I possibly can. That's a good thing to do. But yeah, so as usual, hope that your week ahead is good. In the meantime, before we speak again, check out all of our content via the website or on YouTube. Also, make sure that you're following us on Patreon if you would like to and contribute a little bit towards cost. Always very welcome. Follow us and chat in Discord if you like about any subject. And apart from that, have a good week, stay safe and stay sane.